Hey, welcome to my Uke Nook. I thought I would do a little bit of a little showing off of some of the DIY tools and toys that I have in my Uke Nook. That's my office, and there's a couple things that I made myself and a couple things that I've put together. So take a look through here. So the first one is how I hang up some of my ukuleles. These are the ones that are hanging behind my desk. So my desk is off to the left, and so I can reach behind me and grab one of these when I get the urge to play, or if I want to switch out, go from a low G to a high G, or a little bit of a different sound. So I switch those out, and those are easy to grab. I'll show you how I put those together. If you notice, this is craft plywood that you buy at any big box store, and it is screwed into the bottom of the shelf. I cut it to the same size as you would have for a regular instrument holder you might mount on the wall or mount on your music stand or something. I use that as a template to cut it so the neck fits right in there comfortably, and I put a couple of screws in it, some electrical wire nuts on top of it, and it holds really nicely. It's really soft wood, so it hasn't done any kind of damage to my instruments, and it's a fun, easy way for me to get to it quickly. So when I first started playing ukulele, I was thinking, oh, it'd be great to have a stand for a holder for my music stand. Well, I didn't know they made stands that you could buy, so I actually just put one together. This one hangs in the front of my music stand, right on the little lip where that holds the music, and here's how it looks like. So if you look at it closely, it's a coat hanger that I bent to fit into that shape and put some tape on it so it doesn't damage it, and the instrument hangs right on there. I certainly don't use this when I go outside, but when I'm in my Uke Nook and I want to have an extra instrument close by, or if I'm making a note on some music, I can just hang it up right there very quickly. Next to that is on my filing cabinet, which is right next to my music stand, is my little holder. And I turned this little soprano size body into a holder for beverages, for pens, for picks of all different sizes, and also I'd lay a couple of other things on there like a little plug, a little 1/4-inch jack, or a capo. So it sits right next to my desk. Here's a little closer image to that, image of that, and it's big enough to hold a coffee cup, or I have a little sleeve in there that I can put a beer bottle or a beer can or something in there. So it holds it very nicely. It doesn't necessarily hold a coffee cup with a handle on it, but I don't usually use that in my office anyway. So this was a couple of things that I'd put into this that I figured I would use those all the time. Here's a couple of things that I made these picks out of milk cartons, the ones on the left. And so they're just a gallon milk jug cut up into different sizes, and they're cut into approximate size of a pick. And then I used like hockey stick tape or some kind of sports tape to wrap around the picks, and so I can turn it over and have kind of a soft sound, or I can use the open end and it's a little bit more of a punch to it, and it's also very flexible and very soft, so it's kind of fun. And I've made some a little bit tighter, so there's just a little bit of flex to it, and some with a little extra flex to it. And then next to that is a little wooden box, and it just fits all of my picks very nicely. And I do have it open most of the time because I also have some finger picks in there that I don't use very often, but they're a nice place to keep them. So as you can see, I have all different kinds of picks in there, from the felt ones, really large ones, the smaller felt picks, and then down to some of the picks that I made, and of course guitar picks too. So, and here's just another shot of that without any beverages in there. So I just enlarged that hole to about a 3-inch hole instead of about a 2.5-inch hole, which is normal, which is pretty typical for an ukulele. So no neck on it, just the body. Painted it the color I wanted, kind of matched some of the stuff in my office, at my Uke Nook. And so that's I love this little thing. It's been really fun to have that near my desk. This is something that I took. My father was a square dance caller, and for years he had these big speakers that he would haul around everywhere, and I loved them because as a kid, when he wasn't around, I would turn it up really loud. It wasn't square dance music I was listening to, but the speakers weren't working well anymore. The paper was starting to wear out, and so I decided to, a little homage to my dad and to these old speakers, is I peeled off all the outer layers that were on there, repainted it, cut the metal frame or the metal grill that was in the front so it opens in two parts, and I'll show you that in a later picture. And then, but I put two more of the little ukulele holders on either side, one on either side, so I can hang an instrument on there. If I'm using one instrument, I can have two extra ones. So again, this is just a little way of me reusing a speaker box, and I'll show you what I did with it. So inside, by cutting that grill into two parts, I have the top part actually has foam inside there, and I can carry my tripod and also my iPad holder in there. And then in the bottom part, I actually have a little amplifier in there. And so I can plug into that little NUX amplifier. It's got a plug there, so the plug comes out the side, and I can close it, and it looks like this whole thing is a big amplifier, and it's really just a little amplifier inside there. The way I've got it closed, the way I keep it closed is when it's transporting, it has a wing nut on it, as a little bolt with an eye bolt with a wing nut on it. But then if you'll notice, the little clasp that holds it closed is actually a tuning peg. So I put those on the top, and I put one on the bottom too. Then on the back, I added a handle, added wheels. And after I put the wheels on it, I realized, gee, why didn't my dad ever put wheels on these things? It moves a lot easier instead of carrying it around. So now I can carry that around, or roll that to a location, open it up, do a little busking, have some instruments on the side there. And I really like it. It's really fun. And then my last one that I just wanted to show of a DIY, I designed a ukulele. I live in Holland, Michigan, and we have wooden shoes here. So I designed one thinking, what would somebody in Holland do if they were to make an ukulele? I went, oh, I know. And as soon as I made it, and I designed it, gave this to a luthier friend of mine, and he finished this one off and just did a beautiful job with it. Added that little tulip touch on there too. And then I showed it to my wife, and she goes, oh, look, it's a ukulele. She comes up, that was great. She named it right away. So anyway, that's my little tour of some of my Uke Nook and some of the things I have, and maybe one of these days I'll do a little tour of some of the other instruments that I built too. See you soon.